Welcome once again, Libra. It's November 2018. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au, and last month we talked about Saturn and that basic part of life which causes us to recoil, to contract, to shrink back from, what it is we'd like to do. This month I want to talk about Jupiter. Jupiter's in your second solar house now, the second place from where the sun was when you were born. Those of you who are interested in astrology may also note that some of what I'm saying will relate specifically to you if your ascendant or rising sign is Libra or your lunar sign is Libra. So the second house, most of us know about this sector to relate to money. So astrologers would say that yes, Jupiter's transit in this part of your horoscope should bring lots of wealth, lots of money, acquisition of financial gains and that sort of thing. That's not always the case. And for some reason my intuition is focusing more on the component of speech related to this segment of your horoscope. Words. Words have the power to create and the power to destroy. And so in a sense, the point I want to make today to you about this transit, and by the way, your ruling planet Venus has just been moving in this same sector and it's about to make contact with Jupiter shortly. So that's considered one of the lucky combinations. Venus-Jupiter brings with it the acquisition of wealth, a sweet tongue, lots of good fortune, expansion, growth in the family, birth of children, grandchildren, that sort of thing. It's considered a very nice placement, but the expansion that I'm interested in is the power of your words at the moment. In Vedic astrology, they call this second sector Vak, V-A-K, Vak. It's got to do with the power of words, the power to harm or heal. And the expansion that I'm talking about has everything to do with what you're generating in the way you speak. Whether what you speak now is generating positive, expansive transmission, or whether it is generating a rather negative impact on everything around you as well as yourself. You can expand in a way that is positive and you can expand in a way that is territorial. For example, Hitler. He had an amazingly expansive period where he demolished everything in his path. So expansion is not always a good thing. So of course the expansion we're talking about here is primarily to, bring good to yourself and to others and to make sure that that is a wholesome sort of expansion. Words actually can't be taken back once you let them out. Think about that. That's pretty pertinent. You can apologize for the words that have come out, but you can't change what comes out. Ordinarily, I would say that the placement of Venus with Jupiter in this sector of your horoscope is a positive sort of expansion. And yes, for the most part, you should be experiencing some benefits financially. You have to understand from the placement of Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, which is co-ruled by Jupiter. The sixth house is what we call an inimical house, and this is where you have to be careful that you don't just cast a blanket forecast, because Jupiter's inherent power is one of expansion, but ruling your sixth house is not particularly favourable. It can in fact expand your debts. Now you may end up making money out of this, but it could be the proverbial saying that if you don't spend money, you're not going to make money. So this is a period where, yeah, money can come back in, but that may only reflect the extent to which you're prepared to put faith in the fact that you can make money. But getting back to the speech, I think this period for you now has to do with reconciliation. It has to do with, even if you know you are right, maybe conceding for the sake of peace, because it's not just about expanding what comes out of your mouth, it's about expanding what's in your heart and using the right words to come to a conciliatory resolution if there have been some problems. And as I said, the sixth ruler, Jupiter, has to do with enemies, debts, and disease. So being the planet of disease, being in the place of speech and food, this could be that you're eating really bad food at the moment or not looking after your diet. There can be an expansion in that sense. Venus and Jupiter in particular usually indicate a rather sensate approach to food. So just watch your diet there and expand it in a good way. Expand your intake of vitamins rather than your intake of sugar. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. And this second house, interestingly being money, rests right now upon your ability to expand goodwill and to use the right sort of words in discussion. There is something to be said for silence as well. Silence can actually be very, in fact, it's the most expansive thing of all. And silence, as long as you are expressing it, can you express silence? You can express silence. As long as you're expressing that, you're not likely to put your foot in it. So take a little bit of time to be aware during this transit. You've still got a little bit more of this Jupiter in your second house. You've got Venus coming into contact with it. No doubt shortly some good news will come to you. There'll be some great news in the family, births, weddings, festive occasions, increased income. That means nothing if this is creating ill will or you've still not got control over the tongue. My master once said, to develop spiritually, you only have to control this, the sense in the mouth. Eating, speech. Once these two things are under control, everything else expands. Join me next month. We'll be talking more. I'm enjoying sharing some of these really interesting viewpoints on the planets and astrology. Perhaps angles you haven't heard of before. There's more on this. We've got a lot more stuff at the site. My pride and joy, astrology.com.au. Don't forget to stop in there. And by all means, drop me a line if you want to make a comment or subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.